Hi, starting from this lecture, we're going to use some SQL codes in order to test for SQL injection vulnerabilities. So in order to be clear, I'm going to open a livepad and I'm going to write this down so we can know what we are doing because we're going to test a lot of codes. So let me copy this and bring this down and open a new livepad and paste this code in here. So we're going to follow what we are doing from this livepad. So let me take this down a little bit and let me take this up a little bit so we can see both in one screen. So when I type name as James and when I type password as 1111, of course, this is my real password, and if I click login, it will log me in. Because why? Because it's running where username is James and where the password is 11111. And since this is correct, it logs me in. It checks if it's correct, and if it's correct, it logs me in. If it's not correct, it doesn't log me in. And how can we manipulate that? Let me show you a good way to manipulate this. So let me log out one more time and I'm going to run this as James, but I'm going to manipulate the password input. So here, if I say James, it will add James in here, and when I type my password, it completes this with adding a single quotation at the end. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. If I delete everything in here, so if I type 1111 in the password, it adds one single quotation at the end of this sentence and it runs this command for me when I hit on login, right? So if I can disable this single quotation at the end somehow, then I can run whatever I want to run beforehand. So what do I mean? How can I disable this single quotation mark? So in programming languages, when you want to take a note, you can add a hash or you can add double slashes like in Java. But in SQL, you can add a hash, and we're going to do that in the Python section as well. So if you add a hash, it won't run as a code, but it counts as a comment. It counts as a note, okay? So it isn't a code anymore, so we can complete the sentence on our own way. So what do I mean? What can I write here more in order to manipulate this comment? I can check for additional responses, I can check for additional features and try to log my way in even though I don't know the password. So right now I'm giving the correct password, but if I add something like this, okay, with a single quotation and say and 1 is equal to 2, it means that I'm going to check for if the password is 111, and also I'm going to check to see if 1 equals to 2, okay? And it doesn't make sense, of course, because 1 isn't equal to 2, and you have to write this in upper cases. So if it works out, this won't log me in, right? Because 1 is not equal to 2. So select everything in here, okay, and copy this. And don't copy the last single quotation because it will add this automatically. And as you can see, even though I have written down the password as 111, it didn't work out because it ran the code in the same way that we want. It checked for 1 is equal to 2. If you do it like this, 1 is equal to 1, and copy this sentence in here, and again, don't take the last quotation mark and say James, and if you hit login, then it will log you in. So now we know that we can use the hash sign in order to manipulate the SQL command, so we can try to run another SQL command to log us in, even though we don't know the password. So we're going to do that within the next lecture.